Today's education news. Pupils could lose 12 teaching days a year due to global heating. You ask anyone who's been to school, worked in school, taught in a school this week, and they will tell you it has been unbearable. And as a teacher, it's been almost impossible to teach a group of students in a room that's like a sauna. I know that the learning this week has been lost because most of the time has been spent as a teacher just answering the same questions. Yes, you can take your jumper off. Yes, you can get a drink. Yes, I've opened the windows. I know it's hot, but there's nothing else I can do. So the Met Office and University College London has created this report analysing nearly 20,000 state school buildings to investigate how climate risks such as flooding and overheating could affect future students' learning. Report published in the same week we've had this heat wave where some schools already have had 1 or 2 days where indoor temperatures have passed 35 degrees, making learning very difficult. I wouldn't say it's very difficult. I'd say it's been impossible. This is only the start. It's only going one way because increased extreme heat events alongside more subtle increase in temperature could lead to loss of more teaching time, like school closures seen during the heat waves in July 2022. I can't remember them, can you? So if we don't implement ways to adapt measures, make sure schools are comfortable places for students to learn, they could potentially lose up to 12 days of learning per year on average as a result of generally warmer weather and not just from extreme heat. I can only imagine what the comments are going to be like on this video from those people who love to get in the comment section of my videos. Never worked a day in teaching, but love to just talk about how lazy teachers are, how we're always after days off, we have all these holidays, we're always striking. If they get a sniff that schools might be closed because of extreme heat, oh my God. They're just going to accuse us of being even more lazy. We just want schools to be comfortable. We want to be places where children feel comfortable enough to learn. I would just love to interview the person who designed most school buildings back in the day, just to ask, just to pose the thought, what went through your mind when you're designing these buildings to make sure it's as cold as it possibly can be and it can never heat up during the winter, but also it turns into the surface of the sun whenever we get a bit of nice weather. So they are predicting that by the year 2100, the global surface temperatures are going to be rising approximately 4 degrees, which is predicted to happen without any major climate intervention. I know that anyone watching this video who works in a school, listen, we're not going to be teaching by that year, are we? I mean, we'll be lucky if we make it to the end of term in one piece at the minute. Researchers calculate the number of days schools would exceed the 35-degree threshold by looking at the school's location. They found it was actually newer school builds from the 60s. They're more likely to overheat than the older buildings due to having better insulation and lower ceilings. It's schools in the south and east of England, as well as London, that are at greater risk of overheating. And interestingly, it is secondary schools who are more at risk of flooding. 59% of secondary school sites and 39% of buildings are at risk. Primaries, it's 33% of sites and 20% of buildings. Now, a Teacher Tapp poll found that 55% of teachers reported classrooms were too hot in the summer due to poor ventilation. But I'll tell you when it won't be too hot. August. Why is it when we actually need the good weather, we don't get it during August? It's always this time of the year. June is always sweltering, making it so hard for any teaching and learning to happen because the conditions just aren't right. I mean, just this week, teachers reporting suffering headaches, pupils falling asleep at the desks. Some classrooms in newer schools logging indoor temperatures as high as 32 degrees, with some saying it's 30 degrees as early as 7:30 in the morning. You walk into your class at 7:30 in the morning, it's 30 degrees. You might as well just head the other way, call it a day there. Children, we'll leave it today. No, we're not going to get through much, are we? It ain't going to be one of those days where children make lifelong learning if it's that hot at 7:30 in the morning. It is a slog, not just for the staff, but the students as well. Well, how do we solve it? Well, it all comes down to that one thing we need more than anything at the minute, and that is investment. Investing in education to make sure that schools are safe and comfortable places to learn, not just now, but in the future. And there is also calls to make sure we underline the importance of pupils studying these issues of overheating, climate change, flooding, and being able to apply what they have learned in their geography curriculum that can lead to positive action. But yeah, we'll just crack on. I'm sure that one fan, if you're lucky in your classroom, is going to keep everyone cool. And just, yeah, make sure your jumpers are off and you've got your drinks at your desks.